time for me to admit something. I sold some of my top altcoins that I've been accumulating for years. Want to know which ones? HBAR, Caspa, and XRP. There are more, but these are a few that I ended up reducing my positions on. Now, you might think this was a crazy decision because these are some projects I've talked about many times on here. And right now, all signs in the market are pointing to a massive alt season. After a long time of watching Bitcoin moving so low, the action is starting to pour into altcoins again. Ethereum is gaining traction, popping up on headlines, attracting major institutions. And you're seeing signs of life from many other altcoins, which is putting a stop to the uptrend for Bitcoin dominance. Almost looks like the tipping point we saw in the last cycle before a major run. Crypto spot ETF decisions are also right around the corner, while existing crypto ETFs are seeing record-breaking inflows. And of course, on the dark side of crypto, theft is also increasing. So far this year, almost $3 billion in funds were stolen from platforms and individual users. We also saw a similar surge during the 2021 bull run. It's unfortunate, but this is a sign of a shift happening. Okay, so you get the picture. Everything's pointing to what could be the most massive altcoin season we've ever seen. But if that's the case, why would I go and sell altcoins from some of the highest potential projects I've been following for years? Well, consider this for a moment. What good is buying low if you never take the chance to sell high? Everyone's obsessed with their favorite coins. I lost count of how many times someone has asked me the question like, is this a good price to buy at? Will this go up from here? But I think the more important question is, when should you be selling? Because profits aren't real until you actually hit that sell button. And if you feel like you are still trying to figure this part of the equation out, you're not alone. Trust me, I've also seen some of the most insane price movements only to miss the perfect moment to sell. A perfect example is what happened with XRP. This chart went through one of the most aggressive climbs in 2017, over a 20x gain over just a few months. Now imagine you were holding XRP months or even years before this, and you kept holding on thinking this will go even higher. Then all of a sudden, the market crashed. XRP fell out of the sky and you're left wishing you sold at least something when it was closer to $3. But then the 2021 bull cycle came, and you waited for the price to go back to $3 or maybe even higher. You kept waiting and waiting until you realized the entire bull cycle went by, but this chart didn't even make it past $2. And this scenario isn't just limited to XRP. According to data reports from Masari and CoinGecko, almost 90% of the top 100 altcoins from 2017 didn't reach a new all-time high during the 2021 run. This is just proof that there is no guarantee a price chart will go higher in future runs, which should indicate how important it is to take profits when the opportunity is right in front of you. So now we're starting to see the next phase of this market come to life. Different altcoins are going through rapid price movements. Even XRP this time around managed to break its record high from 2017. And again, you're faced with the same situation. Do you sell while it's up big, or do you wait for this to go higher? Well, I'll tell you what I did. I sold some of my XRP over here in January. Keep watching if you want to know why I decided to do this, and I'll go over why I sold other big positions in my portfolio like Caspa and HBAR. Now, one major challenge I came across when trading crypto is actually finding a good platform to do it on. Over the years, I've narrowed down my list of reliable exchanges for all my trading, and WEEX is one that I use religiously for spot trading with assets like XRP and Caspa, and even futures trading. The platform is really easy to use. All of the tools you need are right there. Stop losses, limit orders, and your positions are all displayed in a way that's easy to track. Trust me, I've tried many different exchanges, and this is one of the few that I've stuck to. Trading fees are already super low, but if you sign up with the link in the description below, you'll get 30% off of these fees, along with the chance to earn up to 30,000 USDT in bonuses. And while we're talking about trading, it also helps to stay connected with the latest insights, market trends, and strategies. And this is exactly what the FireHustle Discord was made for. There, you'll find a team that's constantly providing valuable updates and members that bring together their own expertise and learnings from the market. I myself have learned a lot from this community, and it's helped me shape my trading and outlook of crypto. If you're looking for a way to upgrade your crypto journey, you can find the link in the description below. Please remember that none of what I share is financial advice. Always make sure to do your own research before making any financial decisions. Now hit those like and subscribe buttons, turn on post notifications, and let's get into it. So you might be wondering why I chose to show you the XRP chart out of all of the altcoins out there. Well, I actually started my crypto journey back in the 2017 cycle, and XRP was one of the first major altcoins I ever got into. I bought in when it was still under 20 cents before the 2017 bull run. But at the time, I was still learning how to navigate the market. Crypto wasn't a full-time thing for me yet, and like most retail investors, I got busy with life and my 9-to-5 job. I stopped checking my portfolio, and a few months later, I checked my position on XRP and I realized that I missed a massive push and the chance at a 20x return. I'm sure some of you understand the pain. Since then, Ripple's ecosystem has come a long way, and as I got deeper into crypto, I kept adding to my position. Like I said earlier, XRP didn't hit new highs in the 2021 run, but I stayed patient and accumulated through the 2022 bear market and into 2023. Instead of setting a fixed sell target like $3, I waited for a clear shift in the market, and that came at the end of 2024. Bitcoin finally took off, and altcoins began their first big push of the cycle. XRP went from around 50 cents to over $3 in just a few months. But I didn't just hold and wait on the sidelines. I sold a chunk of my position for profits. I sold a portion for over $2, and again when it pushed past $3. And here's why. The RSI on the daily chart shot above 70 and stayed there for almost a month. Now, we've seen the RSI push up to this zone several times over the last few years, along with a price jump. But this time, the MACD indicator also surged to levels we've only seen during bull runs. That signaled strong upward momentum, which is why I put in the first sell. Then, when the RSI started cooling and the MACD made a bearish cross, dropping below the signal line, I sold more. It was clear that the momentum was fading and a retracement was likely to follow. And that's exactly what happened. But let me get something straight. Just because I sold doesn't mean that I gave up on the project. First of all, I didn't sell everything. I only sold a portion of my position to start getting back what I initially put in and begin to secure profits. And second, I actually bought back in after the retracement. There seemed to be a new support zone forming near $2. And at the same time, a bullish case was forming. The 5-year-long SEC lawsuit that held Ripple back is finally nearing its end. At the same time, the SEC just approved a leveraged XRP ETF through ProShares. And a list of XRP spot ETFs are in the approval pipeline, with key deadlines approaching. Combined with Ripple launching its RLUSD stablecoin and securing new institutional partnerships, the fundamentals have never looked stronger. With the full-blown Altseason on the horizon, XRP has everything it needs to make a massive run. That's why I DCA'd back in under $2 with these dips. And I'm already up on this position thanks to this week's price action. And whenever momentum starts shifting in crypto, I realize it's super important to use fast and reliable exchange platforms. WEEX is one of my main choices for this reason. I've had no problem setting up limit orders for my buys and sells, and getting started is as simple as using an email to sign up. Deposits and withdrawals are also quick and easy, which isn't the case for most exchange platforms. If you haven't tried out WEEX yet, you can follow the link below and give it a shot. But let's talk about HBAR. I didn't catch it back in the early days like I did with XRP, but once I dug into the tech and started following Hedera's ecosystem, I realized that it was one of the few projects actually gaining real-world traction, especially in the space of tokenizing real-world assets, which is quickly becoming a major deal this cycle. There's a reason why many are predicting this to become a $1 trillion industry within the decade. Now, there's a key difference between Hedera and other layer 1s that are ready to take on RWA tokenization. Hedera's network is already being used today by institutions all over the world. As an example, through their collaboration with Artjax, they've supported the tokenization of funds, bonds, and other financial products. These include products from companies that control serious amounts of money, like Aberdeen and even BlackRock. Now, HBAR surprised a lot of people with its massive push in Q4 of 2024, just like XRP. This ended up pushing past 30 cents, a price zone we last saw in 2022. I was slowly adding to my position in this lower trading zone, knowing that this project team is building and making major moves. And of course, this paid off. RSI and MACD indicators also signaled bullish momentum, which couldn't last forever, which is why I sold off a portion of my holdings between 30 and 40 cents. The momentum slowed down as expected, and this isn't specific to HBAR and XRP. The entire altcoin market went through this retracement. And what's interesting is this price zone near 15 cents that was once a point of resistance was flipped into a support zone. If we're looking at historical price action, a similar thing happened last cycle. Resistance point for the first big climb at 15 cents, which then became the bounce point for the second bigger run. I ended up buying back some HBAR during these dips under 15 cents, a move that's already rewarding me as we speak. Now, I'm definitely super bullish on Hedera and HBAR long term. So again, selling does not mean moving on. We're all in this to make a return on our investments, and this is part of my strategy. Kaspa is a totally different story. It actually saw the biggest gains earlier in the cycle, from under a penny in early 2023 to over 15 cents by the start of 2024. And this was without any major institutional push. The rally was mostly fueled by Kaspa's innovative block DAG architecture that powers the fastest proof-of-work network today. Plus, rapid community growth and more exchange listings were fueling the momentum. Because I was positioned pretty early on in Kaspa, I noticed this massive momentum and started selling off some of my position on the way to the peak. Of course, I had no idea how far this could go, but I remember the euphoria in the Kaspa community. It almost felt like this could just keep climbing forever. But the reality is that climb couldn't be sustained. The rest of the market wasn't ready for an altcoin shift yet, and that's why I took the opportunity to secure profits while I could. And you guessed it. I used this profit to buy back in during these last major dips toward 5 cents. Now, while XRP and HBAR went vertical in late 2024, Kaspa couldn't match this movement. It wasn't able to push past the all-time high from mid-2024. And the reason might be a lack of recent news and updates for Kaspa compared to XRP and HBAR. Aside from the recent network upgrade to increase its speed to 10 blocks per second, there were no other major catalysts, no major listings, no big integrations, and no institutional involvement. And if we look at what's happening right now, it still hasn't broken out of its downward channel. It's down over 50% from the peak, but look at this. The RSI and MACD are indicating a shift in momentum right now. To me, this signals a potentially bigger climb to come. Now, Kaspa's current situation is that it's actually lagging behind competitor layer 1s, and that's because there's no layer 2 support and no smart contracts. At least not yet. We know the core team is working on this right now, and if they're able to introduce a layer 2 ecosystem for Kaspa soon, then we could see this gap being closed pretty quickly. Remember, this would open the door for DeFi dApps and real world use cases that don't exist on Kaspa today. So if there's one thing you should take away from this video, it's that selling doesn't mean giving up on a project. If you're jumping into the crypto market, you're doing this to take advantage of price runs and come out with profits. That's why I've always kept a strategy in mind, which includes staying prepared to sell if the opportunity comes up. It's always good to keep price targets in mind, but you should know by now that the crypto space is constantly shifting and evolving. So I found it helpful to stay on top of the projects I'm positioned in, watching out for news and updates, and also assessing the price action on a regular basis. And when it comes to selling and DCAing into altcoins, I made it a priority to have solid platforms that I can rely on when the time comes. I've tried several different exchanges out there, and trust me, many of them feel slow and clunky and require several steps before I can even start trading. WEEX has been a game changer for my crypto journey, so follow the link down below and find out why for yourself. Now, these are just 3 altcoins that I'm holding. If you want to know what else I'm holding in my main portfolio this cycle, then check out this video here, where I break down everything by sector in my portfolio and share some of my top holdings from each. And if you're looking to upgrade your crypto game with daily insights, market analysis, and a strong growing community, then check out the FireHustle Discord group. Link is in the description below. As always, none of what I share is financial advice. Please always do your own research before making any financial decisions. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.